What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be installing the Tannis Armor Puncture Protection Tire Liner. I installed this on my BMX bike not that long ago, have them still in the other set of wheels. I've also done a comparison between the Tannis and a pool noodle. I know a lot of people were kind of going at me in the comments saying it wasn't a pool noodle, it was actually insulation pipe. It's the exact same thing on paper, and a pool noodle was out of season, so at the end of the day, they both work. So let's open these bad boys up, and I'm going to be installing them on my Aero Rider Grizzly wheels. So after this video, I'm going to be taking a ride on the trails, kind of see if they make any difference. Pretty sure they won't. If anything, they'll just be stopping me from getting any flats. So let's open them up. So the Tannis Armor come as you see packaged here. They also come with extra tubes. If you don't already have a flat, then I wouldn't use these tubes. I would use your existing tubes and keep these as extras. For whatever reason, just in case you end up running over something that is just thicker than your tire, then you obviously will get a flat. This isn't meant to stop all flats in general. They just would reduce the likelihood that you actually would get a flat. So the side of these right here that would tuck underneath would prevent you from getting any pinch flats from the rim. This is more of a puncture protection from any like thorns or screws or anything you might pick up on the road. So let's open these bad boys up. I mean, they come pretty much just like this. You have to open them up and kind of let them sit and make their own shape. So they're basically going to resist you for a minute. Let them sit like this for a little while just to kind of regain its own shape, because it'll be a lot easier to manipulate into the wheel. So before we go any further, I want to talk about today's video sponsor. This video would not be possible if it was not for Phantom Wallet sponsoring today's video, hence the name. Fans open all your cards. Really durable design. This one's the aluminum one. They also offer it in plastic. All the accessories screw on, as you see there, all these little screw holes. Right now I'm running silicone band. I usually run the money clip because it gives you a lot of color accessories. They also offer a clear plastic front for holding IDs, as well as fanning out your keys. I'll display them here on the screen. If you're interested in any of these products, especially their newest one, it's going to be coming out really soon with MagSafe technology, be able to connect it to your iPhone. Click link in the description below. Use Fede 10 at checkout, and big shout out to Phantom Wallet for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to it. All right, so the first thing you want to do is take all the air out. All right, now you've gotten all the air out. Popping this bead out is going to be the hardest part. You want to take your hands on the spokes, pull the spokes to you, and push the edge of the rim back. And do that all the way around. And you'll start to see the inner edge of the rim. That way you can break that seal and be able to get this tire off. So I'll do that all the way around. A tire lever will help with this next part. So use a tire lever, pop this around. I'm going to take this tube out. I'm going to take this tire completely off. I'm going to take a good look at the interior of the rim and the edges to make sure there's no areas that could puncture the tube when I am putting it on and reinstalling it. So I'll go over everything, run my fingers, see if they feel any sharp edges, which I don't because this is like a brand new wheel. So the wheel looks good. Pop the wheel there. Now with the tire, you want to inspect the interior of the tire, the inner wall. So I'll run my hand on the inside of the wall, all along the edges, along the exterior, make sure there's nothing sharp that can poke through when I'm reinstalling this to be able to puncture that other tube. All right, now that you've inspected your rim and your tire, you're going to end up tucking the rim away to the side. So I'm going to pop that over there, keep that out of the way. Tubes I'm going to save. Now this is where it gets pretty interesting. This is where it gets kind of difficult too. You want to make sure that you manipulate this to fit in the tire first, and then we put the tire on the rim, because you're going to have to tuck and roll this edging to the edge of the rim. That way it protects the tube from any pinch flat. Now the initial install of this is going to feel like you're fighting it for sure, because this Tannis Armor is a lot harder and less malleable than like your tube in general. So once you get it in there and it's seated, it'll be nice and easy. So what you want to do after it's seated in there, it may seem like it's already in there and it's ready to go, but it's not. You see how uneven this edging is? You want to make sure that edging is even all the way around, because we're going to be using this to tuck and roll to protect the tube from any pinch flats on the edge of the rim. Now it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but you'll be able to tell when you're using your hand if it's centered to the center part of the tire. You'll be able to see if it's like rolled in there. What I like to do is try to like squeeze it to mold it with the tire as well. Once you got that edging figured out, what we do now is we pop it back on the rim without the tube, and then we'll pop the tube in there. Another thing you always want to check out is see if your tires are directional. These tires are directional. There is a rotational spec on this tire. There's an arrow showing that this tire will be going forward this way. Now looking at my wheel, I know that my brake being on the left side, that my wheel is going forward. Now if it was on the right side, it'd be going reverse. So now that it's going forward, I'm going to take the wheel, I'm going to pop this into the tire, just like you would changing any other flat. A tire lever is your best friend in this scenario because you don't want to pinch your fingers. So I also wouldn't use like a flathead screwdriver or anything unless you have some really heavy duty rubber coating on there, because you don't want to mess up your rim. If you're already getting the Tannis liners, check into the Tannis levers. These things are beasts. These things will not break. So now I've gotten all that together, I'm going to take my existing tube. I'm going to take the air out mostly. That way I can get this tube in there, because there's not as much room as there was before, which means this tube would have a hard time getting in there. Alright, so you locate your valve stem hole right here. I'm going to pop that in there. I'm going to lead with the valve stem hole. So I'm going to pop it into where the valve stem is poking up. That way you can guide that in there. Find the hole. And after you've done that, you're going to lay it back down and you're going to tuck it in. And when you tuck it in, you're going to make sure it's all seated in there perfectly. Then you're going to tuck this edge all the way under the tube. That way you can prevent it from getting a pinch flat. So like I said, I like to run my fingers to where it tucks underneath the tube. And now the other side is already tucked underneath the tube because I rolled that in first. So the tube laid on top of the other side that's rolled under, and this one is tucked underneath the tube to where I have that protection from this inner sidewall of the rim. What you gotta do next is manipulate this tire back onto the rim, and try not to use the tire lever until the very, very end. You wanna make sure that you can just gradually push this on there. And the same type of method, try to pull up on the spokes while pushing down on the tire. There you go. And with this one, I didn't even need tire levers. So, next thing you do is you want to air it up. Now, I'll get a pump. I'm going to air it up real quick, but I'm going to tell you the process that I do first. I actually always air it up about maybe 10-15%. I roll the tire, and then 10 or 15%, and I roll the tire. That way the tire bead is seated perfectly inside the rim. Big shout out to Tannis for the pump too. This pump is definitely going to be coming in handy here pretty soon with the tubeless compatibility stuff I'm going to be doing. What it does is it lets you put all the pressure inside of the pump and then quick release it out, and it pops the bead right onto the rim to where you're not doing it slowly and you don't need a compressor. Alright, after you've aired it all up, you want to inspect the tire bead on the edge to make sure that it is even all the way around. There's a little edge that you might be able to see here in this video where it's kind of perforated. You want to make sure that's even all the way around. Otherwise, you're going to have a hop. Now, a hop is something you're going to feel when you're on the trail or on the road. It's just going to boom, 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 boom. You may not necessarily see it when you're looking at it right here, but if you seated everything perfectly like I showed you, you shouldn't have an issue at all.
Alright guys, I'm going to do it for today's video featuring the Tannis Armor inserts. If you guys have any questions about the inserts, put a comment below. If you guys are interested in anything Tannis Armor related, link in the description below will take you there. I'm really curious of what bike you guys are riding, and if you guys plan on doing this install yourself if you haven't already. So with that being said, if you have any suggestions for future videos, put them in the comments below. If you guys like this video, drop a like. If you love it, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.